Okay, good afternoon all. This is the second session of Advanced DevOps Lab. So today we are going to do two things. First of all, we're going to see the last week's Cloud9 setup again. Now this time we'll be looking at it from a point of view where we want to understand how we can use the Cloud9 setup to do collaboration. That is, I may have multiple users working on a same project, and how in that scenario I would use a Cloud9 IDE where both of them can utilize the same IDE from their respective locations and respective accounts. So how do we first establish the Cloud9 IDE, how we build the environment, first step, which we had seen last week. And the second step of this would involve you creating multiple accounts under your user, using which you could be able to allow multiple users to use the IDE that you have created. Okay, so this is what we are going to do today in the half part, and the rest half of the lecture we will do some portion from the uh, DevOps lab syllabus, which is related to version controlling system called as Git. So there are two things that we're going to target today to complete, and probably we'll be running through 1.5 hours, 1 hour 30 minutes to 2 hours duration. Most of the things I will be enacting, and maybe sometimes I would require your help in doing certain things. So I'll let you know in between. Okay, so let us begin. So we already know what is Cloud9. Cloud9 is Amazon Web Service product, or Amazon Web Service, one of the Amazon Web Service, which is used for creating an integrated development environment in a private, in a Amazon cloud setup. Okay, so for using AWS Cloud9 service, yes, Kurade, you have some doubt? You raise your hand, Pratik. Unmute and ask. And why you have raised your hand? Okay, unraise it now. Okay, I thought you have any doubt. Okay, let us start. So to begin with, what we need to have is we need to have a account for ourselves. Okay, and that account here right now I'm using. So this is the interface of the management console of the AWS. So I'll just go to the home folder. Excuse me. Okay, I'll go to the dashboard of the Amazon Web Service AWS console. So this AWS management console is where you will be able to look at the various services that you are recently using, or you can also view all the kinds of services that are part of the cloud platform AWS from Amazon. Okay, so these are all the services, and they are divided into different kinds. So if you see this icon over here, this icon is of a kind of compute device. So it's like a processor. That icon shows like a processor. So all the compute related cloud services of AWS are listed over here, one below the other. Okay, EC2, Elastic Cloud, Elastic Compute Cloud is one of the service wherein you can actually have a cloud-based virtual machine. Okay, that you can spawn or create and use for your purpose. Okay, there are various other services as well. Lambda is one of the service using which you can create serverless computing system. Okay, it is one Lambda services is one of the backbone of providing a certain in what you call it as code as a service, or CaaS, code as a service cloud platform. Okay, then there are a lot of others as well. So I'm not going to go into the details of all the services. We'll be only understanding about the services that we will be using for our practical. So for today's practical, out of the compute service, we will be utilizing EC2, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, ECC. So last week there was some confusion about what exactly EC2 stands for. I knew that it was ECC, but then I was not having the exact idea about it. Okay, all these services which are listed under this icon, they are related to virtual device management, creation of a virtual functionality based in the cloud setup. Now there are container services. As we talked about last week, containers are very important when it comes to DevOps. And if I want to have a container service on a cloud platform, the way AWS give you is all these options. So Elastic Container Registry, Container Services, Kubernetes Service, and OpenShift. So Kubernetes is in our syllabus, so we may actually see a bit about this in later some of the practicals. There are certain storage services. S3 is one of the storage services, Amazon Simple Storage Service. This is easy to use object-based storage. So anything like an object you want to store. So it's not a database kind of a storage system, but it's an object storage system. You can store and retrieve data in S3, and that is based the billing model is based on how much data you store and how much data you retrieve, the querying that you do on that particular data storage. All these services by the way are paid services, and they have also certain free component as well. Okay, uh, out of these data services, I guess S3 we will use somewhere in our practicals. Storage gateway sometimes we might use, and AWS backup sometimes we will be using one of the services. The database management services on cloud-based database management services that we have under these database categories. Migration transfer we might not be using. These are the network services. Virtual private network service. Then Route 53 is a DNS service that is provided by the Amazon Web Service bouquet. These we might sometimes use. API gateway we will be using when we will doing the code shift and all those things. These are some developer tools, and Cloud9 is one of the developer tools. So I was showing you other services because this is the way the services are described. Today we are going to look at the developer aspect. So DevOps ka developer aspect in terms of cloud-based development. So the integrated development environment in cloud, that is what our current focus is in experiment number 1. So experiment number 1 and 2 basically focuses on dev side of the DevOps as far as advanced DevOps syllabus is concerned. So you might have seen the topics in the practical list. The first practical is concentrated on demonstration of collaborative integrated development environment in Cloud9, and the second practical is based on creation of a code pipeline using the code build and code deploy, code deploy, and code pipeline products. So we'll be using these set of services, but when we use these set of services at background, sometimes other services are also used. So when I'm setting up an integrated development environment using Cloud9 in the background to support that IDE, you know that IDE is a software, and Cloud9 gives you a software as a service model. So it gives you software to access as per your needs, as per your requirement, whenever you want. But to support that server, that particular cloud IDE server, you need to have some bare machine, and that bare machine, the virtual machine, is one either I can actually have an EC2 instance using which I can realize it. Okay, so now we'll go for the service and we'll understand if I have this particular interface, that is the free tier account of Amazon. So anybody with any email ID can have a free tier account of Amazon, wherein you won't be able you can just register to this website and you will get certain credits for 1 year duration, and in those credits you can utilize any service and any part of the service which is under the free tier category. Okay, so every service in the Amazon has multiple kind of chargeabilities or multiple kind of billing setups. Out of that, you need to remember that whatever service you are choosing, if some portion of that service is under free tier, it will be mentioned in that service, and you should be able to use that service with any account. Okay, basically you can register to AWS website with any email ID, preferably you use the college domain email IDs while doing the experimentation, because you already have certain credits given through that AWS Academy thing. And if not, at least you can I can actually view your work if you are using your domain mail ID account on AWS. Okay, let it be. फिर ये जो 2-3 एक्सपेरिमेंट हम लोग शुरू में कर रहे हैं, for these experiments we will not require to use that AWS Academy thing or Academy account. These experiments you can do independently, because we are just making things. We are realizing that okay, this is how this thing is made. We will learn how to use it, and once we are done, we'll just wipe it out through the Amazon setup, so that we could practice whenever we want, and we can destroy it whenever we want, and there won't be any charge build on us based on what we work for. Okay, so the service that so to start this particular experiment once working, okay, what we need to do is, as step number 1, I need to have an Amazon Web Service account. Okay, I have an Amazon Web Service account. What to do next, sir? You need to log into AWS Management Console. So after logging into AWS Management Console, you need to select and be assured that you are in this region of interest. So the regions are where various possible locations where the data centers of Amazon are, and many services are available at different locations. But this particular location that I have selected currently, they say that, so this is not what I mean. So whatever reference material that I had based on the white papers in the documentation sheet, this particular region, US East North Virginia, that is US-East-1. So East means East Coast, US means United States. This location actually hosts maximum AWS services that are added to the service set. Okay, and that's why we are selecting this region. And most of the academic resources that they have generated, the Amazon people have generated, they keep on telling that you should use this. That is why we are using this. So you need to just select the region, and you will be hop to that region automatically. And it's not compulsory, but thing is, if you use the same region, so whatever problems we are facing, me or you or some other person, they will be similar kind of problems. Now, other thing about the regions is that when you are a professional, then you should choose a region which is closer to your audience. So whenever you are querying that particular cloud, the region closer to you, the data center closer to you, would be the preferred data center that you use, because it will be naturally going to have less billing effect, because your queries are not routed to somewhere else and then come back. So delay time gets reduced. All those aspects are also there. Okay, but for now we won't think of that, because we are not yet professional. We are just learning how to use AWS services. So we are going to resort to use US East Coast, North Virginia, that is the place name, and the region name is US-East-1, and that is what we have already selected. So the cross check that we need to do is, you need to log into AWS Management Console, select the region as North Virginia, and make sure that you are having over there. Now this you are reading as Anup free tier. That's just a name that I have given to this account in order to segregate or separate this account from my other accounts, which I actually professionally sometimes use. Because if you remember, we had an this thing LMS setup. That for that I used AWS services, and there is a separate account for maintaining it. Now, whenever you are generally having an AWS account, that account is referred to as a root account. So this is a root account, and every root account will have a number associated with it, and this number is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 digit number. Okay, so I have this root account, and this root account has 12 digit number. So the philosophy of AWS is that the root account always is the account against which everything that you use is built against. तो ये जो रूट अकाउंट है, इसके ऊपर आप कोई भी सर्विसेज यूज करोगे, आप कोई भी यूजर्स क्रिएट करोगे, यूजर ग्रुप्स क्रिएट करोगे, वो यूजर या यूजर ग्रुप्स कोई भी सर्विसेज खुद यूज करेंगे, everything will be built against this particular account. So this is like my billing account. So I can think of this is the account of my organization. ये मेरे organization का account है. So there are two types of account I should say that you will have when you get a AWS account. First, whenever you set up your account using your email ID, that by default is a root account, and that root account will have the account name as over here I have mentioned, and there will be this ID of that particular account. So this is the root account of the user that I'm currently using. The email ID that I'm using right now is not my email ID that you know. This is a different email ID that I'm using, just to make sure you know everything that I did, so that whenever you do, you will do a similar thing. So this is the account email ID, root account email ID. Okay, so you will also have your root account email ID somewhere on this line, and this is the account number. Now, whatever sub accounts or sub users I create or sub user groups I create under this root account, they will have to use this ID while logging in, and I'll show you how it is done.